The unthinkable announcement: GM's U.S. retreat. A decision that sent shockwaves through the automotive industry and beyond. General Motors, an American icon, is shutting down key U.S. plants. This move marks a significant shift in the company's strategy and leaves many questioning the future of American manufacturing. 5 facilities across North America are marked for closure. These plants, once bustling with activity, now face an uncertain future. Thousands of jobs are on the line. The impact on local communities will be profound, as families grapple with the loss of income and stability. The company cited changing markets and a pivot to the future. Electric vehicles and autonomous driving are the new focus. This shift is seen as essential for GM to remain competitive in a rapidly evolving industry. But this is cold comfort for those facing unemployment. The transition to new technologies leaves many workers behind, struggling to find new opportunities. Lordstown, Ohio, once a beacon of American manufacturing, is now a ghost factory in the making. The closure of this plant is a stark reminder of the changing economic landscape. Detroit Hamtramck, another casualty, in the heart of Motor City. The loss of this plant is a blow to Detroit's storied automotive history. Warren, Michigan, its transmission plant, silenced. The community now faces the challenge of rebuilding and finding new sources of employment. The announcement was clinical, corporate, devoid of the human element. Executives focused on the bottom line, leaving little room for empathy. But the human cost would be immense. Families are left to navigate the uncertainty and fear that comes with job loss. The timing felt particularly cruel. With the holidays approaching, families were planning celebrations. Now they face uncertainty and fear instead of joy. GM said it was about securing the future, a painful necessity. The company emphasized the need to adapt to new market realities. But for the workers, it was a present-day disaster. Protests erupted as employees voiced their frustration and anger. The automotive world was stunned. Analysts scrambled to make sense of the decision. Pundits pontificated on the broader implications for the industry. But on the factory floors there was only disbelief and a growing sense of anger. Workers felt abandoned by a company they had dedicated their lives to. An American giant was downsizing, at home. The legacy of General Motors, built over decades, now faces an uncertain future as the company navigates this challenging transition. The immediate impact was brutal. Thousands of GM employees suddenly jobless. Their futures uncertain, skilled workers, loyal workers, thrown aside. Nearly 15,000 jobs cut across North America. These weren't just statistics, these were people, families, communities built around these plants. The ripple effect spread through the supply chain. Smaller companies, parts manufacturers, they depended on GM. Local businesses too, restaurants, shops, services, the economic ecosystem of entire towns threatened with collapse. This was more than just a corporate restructuring. This was a body blow to the Rust Belt, a region already scarred, already struggling. The sense of despair was palpable. The news reached the Oval Office, fast. Trump was incensed. He had promised to bring back manufacturing jobs. GM's decision made him look weak, or worse, a liar. He hated being undermined, especially by a company he felt he had helped. All those regulations he cut for this betrayal, his anger was volcanic. Trump saw it as a slap in the face, not just to him, but to America. He had campaigned on America first. He had jawboned companies, threatened tariffs, all to keep jobs in the USA. And now GM, an American giant, was shipping jobs out, or so he framed it. The nuances of global markets, EV transitions, those were details. What mattered was the betrayal, the optics. He needed to act, decisively, publicly. GM and its CEO, Mary Barra, they were about to feel the full force of presidential wrath. Trump didn't wait long. The tweets came first, fast and furious. Very disappointed with General Motors, he typed. He slammed their decision. He attacked Mary Barra by name. He threatened to cut all GM subsidies, including those for electric vehicles. The irony was rich. GM was cutting jobs to invest in EVs. Trump wanted to punish them by hurting their EV business. Logic was not the point. Dominance was. He had to show he was in charge. Then came the public statements at rallies, in press gaggles. He was relentless. He told GM to close a plant in China or Mexico instead. They better damn well open a new plant here, he declared. He spoke directly to Mary Barra through the media. It was an extraordinary spectacle. a U.S. president openly at war with one of the nation's largest corporations. General Motors wasn't just being stubborn or cruel, or so they argued. They believed they were making a necessary, albeit difficult, decision. The company had a story to tell, a narrative of necessity. They wanted to convey the urgency and the strategic foresight behind their actions. The automotive world was changing dramatically and fast. The future was electric, it was autonomous. The industry was on the brink of a technological revolution. Traditional gasoline cars, sedans especially, their sales were plummeting. The market was shifting, and consumer preferences were evolving rapidly. GM said it had to adapt or die. The stakes were high, and the company felt the pressure to innovate or risk obsolescence. This was about survival, about long-term viability, not short-term politics. The decisions being made were intended to secure the company's future. Mary Barra, the CEO, was at the helm. She was steering the company through these turbulent times. She projected calm under immense fire. Her leadership was crucial in navigating the company through this period of transformation. She insisted the cuts were essential to free up capital, billions of dollars, to invest in new technologies. These were painful choices, but necessary for progress. She acknowledged the hardship, but they were, in her view, unavoidable. The human cost was significant, but the alternative was far worse. A strategic pivot, not a retreat. This was a bold move to embrace the future and lead the industry. A move to secure GM's future and ultimately, American leadership in that future. It was about maintaining a competitive edge on a global scale. But this message was complex, hard to sell against the simple, brutal fact of plant closures and lost jobs. The reality on the ground was stark and painful. The GM closures detonated a political bomb, especially in the Rust Belt. States like Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, these were battlegrounds. Trump had won them with promises of a manufacturing renaissance. Now those promises rang hollow for many. The images of shuttered plants, jobless workers, they were potent symbols of failure. Or so Democrats argued. They seized on the news with predictable alacrity. This was Trump's economy. This was his America First in tatters. The blame game was in full swing. Trump blamed GM for its stupidity, its disloyalty. He blamed Democrats for past trade deals, though he had his own now. He blamed everyone but himself. His supporters rallied. They echoed his anger. But cracks were appearing even among his base. The dust from the GM closures, it hasn't fully settled, even now. The once bustling factories now stand silent, a stark reminder of what was lost. Years later, the echoes remain. The silence of these streets speaks volumes about the impact on the community. The long-term effects are still unfolding for the U.S. auto industry, for the American economy, for the towns that lost their heart. The ripple effects are felt in every corner of these once thriving communities. The shift to electric vehicles is accelerating. This new wave of technology promises a cleaner future, but it comes with its own set of challenges. GM was perhaps ahead of the curve or simply responding to an inevitable tide. The company's pivot to electric vehicles is a bold move, but it leaves many questions unanswered. But the transition is painful, disruptive. Workers who spent decades honing their skills now find themselves at a crossroads. It requires new skills, new investments, and leaves old factories and old workers behind. The need for retraining is urgent, but not everyone can make the leap. The scars on communities like Lordstown run deep. The closure of the factory was a blow that many are still reeling from. Some have found new life, new industries, but it's a struggle. The path to recovery is long and fraught with obstacles. The loss of a major employer, it's like losing a limb. The community must learn to function without a vital part of its identity. You adapt, you survive, but you're never quite the same. The sense of loss lingers, affecting every aspect of daily life. The economic fabric is torn, the social fabric strained. The community's spirit is tested as they navigate these new realities. Young people leave, hope dwindles. The future seems uncertain as the younger generation seeks opportunities elsewhere. These are the human consequences that don't show up on a corporate balance sheet or in a presidential tweet. The true cost is felt in the hearts and homes of those left behind.